Hi guys.
Hey guys, sorry we're a little late.
I stepped in some poop.
Oh no.
It was horrible.
Yeah, so let us know that you're here. Tonight it's all about poop, guys. I mean, what better subject is there than poop?
Yep, and we're calling this session the Scoop on Poop.
Yeah.
Basically, it's going to be very interesting conversation. You know, I think every pet parent basically talks to each other and says, "Hey, how's your dog's poop? How's your cat's poop?"
Yeah, I mean that's what I talk about all day.
You know, what color is it? What consistency is it?
We're considered pooroos.
yeah, this is a pooroo session.
We're pooroos.
Yeah.
So let's see. First, we're going to start off by asking everyone.
What are you guys drinking?
What are you guys drinking?
It's that's like a given, right?
Yeah. So we've got something really interesting that we got.
Sure.
All right. I don't know if you could see in here, but
if you can't see it there, this thing is pretty interesting. If you want to give them a quick tidbit about what this is.
Yeah. So because we're talking about poop, we figured we would drink something like, I don't know, unicorn farts, because who doesn't like unicorn farts? So these guys are Dew Claw Brewing Company. They're from Baltimore. So Aunt Andy, you can go grab some of these unicorn farts right down the street from your house. It's glittered sour ale. So it's actually made with fruit cereal, and there's edible glitter in it. And we're gonna try and share this video of us pouring it, but we're technical difficulties. So it's a very nice pour, and if you really look, there's little bits of glitter in it. When we put it down, it'll closer. All right, let's see. What do you guys think?
And by the way, tonight's dinner is basically being hosted by Next to Know, but this video doesn't even do justice as to how cool this beer is. It's pretty cool. Like, you can actually see the glitter directly on or directly in the beer. It's really awesome, especially when the sunlight hits it. We tried to do a video earlier and it just didn't come out as clear because the there's condensation built around it, so it's really hard to see. But trust us when we tell you there's glitter in this beer.
And it's also really good. Like, I didn't know if I was going to like the sour beer, but because of the fruit cereal, I mean, it's...
Yeah, what is it made with Rice Krispies? Or no, Fruity Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles, yeah.
It's quite delicious.
Awesome.
So yeah, we got our food from Mexico. That was also quite delicious.
Yeah.
Do we have any footage of that, or did we just eat everything?
I think we ate everything. Okay. But again, we tried to grab some footage. The video was just too big because the portion was so big. We couldn't fit it in one video. That was a technical difficulty that we were having earlier.
That's why we were late, guys.
But we did. We ordered chicken tacos from them. They were out of mahi mahi. Mahi mahi is amazing. Mm. Apparently, Anna said that thing is like top notch.
Yeah.
The chicken soft shell tacos were amazing. We got guacamole, fresh guacamole from them. That's what Anna's munching on. Mm-hmm. We had a Cuban sandwich. And for those of you who don't like to eat pork or don't like ham, you can actually ask them to replace it with chicken. They actually take the rotisserie chicken, kind of shred it up and throw it in the sandwich. That thing is amazing. I downed mine in like 3 seconds.
We eat everything. So
yeah.
Guys.
And a burrito.
And, there was a burrito somewhere. But yeah, we were kind of starving, so we ate it and it was delicious. And Cece, thank you for the hair. Yeah, I finally who here got their hair done this week since they were able to open up. My hair is like super duper thick and everything, and I just could not put it down. So thank you, Mary Ellen. Mm-hmm. So I got my hair done at Backstage right next to the store. Janice did it, and she does a phenomenal job because she knows how to deal with super thick hair. I didn't get bangs this time around, but I think maybe in the fall. So. And
most of the customers already know. Most of you guys actually already know. I've decided to cut my own hair. Just went for the bald look,
Yeah.
Why not? Summertime. Let the scalp tan in,
Yeah. So yeah, hair's done, which is nice and light. And I think we should probably segue into
poop.
Into poop.
Yeah.
You want to talk about poop?
If anybody's eating along with us, you might want to put your food to the side for a tidbit, because this is going to get a little messy.
Yeah, Cece, I'm getting bangs. It's happening.
And yeah, poop is basically what the scoop is, and we're going to cover everything from constipation to loose poop to diarrhea. You know, some of these things you can actually take, you know, and kind of utilize yourself when you have an upset stomach.
Yeah, you know.
Not 90% of it, but to 10%, you definitely can.
Yeah, so there's a lot of really great, like, you know, poop tells a story. Poop tells us exactly what's going on in everyone's bodies.
Yeah.
So being able to kind of read your animal's poop is a great thing to do. And a lot of times when there is some sort of issue to it, there's some quick, easy fixes. There are plenty of things that are definitely more in depth. Got to go see a vet for, you know, but there are some things that happen at home that we can kind of deal with. So usually when people come in to ask us, like, say my dog's poop is too loose or they're constipated, we like to ask like a bajillion questions.
Yeah.
Because there are so many reasons why their poop isn't good.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, what we do is our level of questioning helps us kind of do a process of elimination to get us closer to what the issue could be. Because honestly, it could have been some random walk in the park, they ate geese poop, and now they're having, you know, diarrhea. And all of a sudden, like, you didn't even think of it, but just us asking you questions like, where were you? When did this start happening? What do you remember? Et cetera, et cetera.
People look at me like I'm crazy when I ask them some of these questions, but it's like, if we can ask these questions, we get a better idea and we can kind of help or recommend maybe it's time to go see a vet for it.
Absolutely.
So first, Human, are you going to talk about some constipation?
Yeah, I guess. Okay. So basically, what's going to end up happening is this. We know there's 3 levels of poop. All right. Well, 4 technically. There's like great poop, which is where we always want to be. So there's never a conversation that's required for that. But for constipation, one of the most primary reasons for constipation is a lack of fiber or lack of moisture in your pet's diet. So there's a couple of easy solutions for you. You can actually start rehydrating some of their food, especially for those of you who are feeding your dog's kibble or cat's kibble, dry food. You know, you can add a little bit of water, add broth to it if you want to. We sell a variety of broths, whether
broth is amazing.
Yeah, shelf or frozen, you know? You can even make your own broth if you want to add some form of hydration. But again, when it comes to DIY, you have to make sure you do everything correctly, because there are some people that actually think that, you know, bouillon cubes are really good to make broth. It's not. Anything that has onions in it is potentially poisonous for actually not potentially, it is poisonous for dogs.
And they also have a really high salt content. You don't want that either.
Yeah, because that can actually lead to more dehydration and other, you know, liver enzymes going up or down, whatever, spikes. Another great tidbit is the fiber, you know, so adding fiber into your dog's diet. We have a variety of fibrous things. This pack of...
We talked about this last week with Amy with Veruba.
Yeah. So remember, if you guys joined us last week, I was actually thinking about eating this while they were eating cat food, but I was like, nah, it's all right. So you can add pumpkin puree to your dog or your cat's diet. I know cats are very finicky when it comes to pumpkin, but there's a variety of different foods. Veruva makes a huge line of them with pumpkin in it to help with the whole, you know, fibrous content in their diet. Dogs love pumpkin. Put it on a tablespoon or teaspoon, depending on the size of your dog, and let them lick it right off. It's great. I used to put a dollop of this on my dog's food with cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, because again, that's also a probiotic, which also helps with healthy poop, healthy digestive systems. Another thing you can do
Can I just chime in real quick?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, so some people go to the supermarket to buy canned pumpkin. That is awesome.
Yep.
But just make sure it is pumpkin puree
and
not
pumpkin pie mix.
Exactly.
Pumpkin pie mix has so much in there.
I don't understand why my dog's even worse.
Yeah, it's like there's cinnamon, nutmeg. There's so many other things in there. There's brown sugar in there, so you have to be very careful. That's pretty much that's a lazy man's pumpkin pie. All right. So at the end of the day, as Anna mentioned, make sure it says Libby's pumpkin puree. Pumpkin pie mix comes with a red label at the bottom, so keep your eye open for that. Yeah.
So smart.
Oh, thank you. And again, vegetables. Another hidden gem. Anything that is green, like super green, will actually help with the fiber content. So you could do broccoli, you could do kale, you could do spinach, cabbage. There you go. Even red cabbage, zucchini. Exactly. Any of that stuff, just boil it down, because our pets' stomachs are not designed to process raw vegetable. So you want to boil it down very slowly, and then get it to a very mushy consistency, and then just put a dollop in their food and let them just chow it down. That's going to get the engine started. It's going to help start pushing that stuff out of their system. Do you want to add anything else to constipation?
So you can add, if you need to add a little bit of bulk. So some people have changed from a dry diet to a raw diet, and they call me and they go, oh my God, my dog's not pooping, or they're struggling to poop. Now, the reason that they might be struggling at first is because their bodies are just so used to so much extra bulk in there that they don't understand. Like the dogs are like, I should be pooping more. So it looks like they're trying harder. Yeah. So in that, what you can do while you're doing the transition and everything, if you wanted to add some fiber, so any of those vegetables that we discussed, if you wanted to do like a grain of sorts, you could do some rice. You could do millet is actually really good. You gotta watch out for millet though, because you think you're making a little bit of it and you get a whole freaking pot of it. So small batches of millet, oatmeal. I always keep some plain oatmeal in the house just in case I need to bulk something up for Nibs if he needs it. You know, you guys know I don't usually feed him like grains or carbs, but you know, sometimes you do. Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
that's actually a really good thing too to kind of get into just quickly before we get on to the other levels of poop. As Anna mentioned, raw food is it's a shocker to the dog system, including the cat system. There's so much nutrition in there. They can eat a pound of food and then they could poop out rabbit pellets, and that's normal.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, my dog isn't like pooping anymore. It's like, no, your dog's absorbing everything. They're taking all the nutrients in. There's only a little bit that comes out of there.
And I love the reaction when they're like, oh, so that's normal? Yes. This is amazing. That's all they're going to poop out?
Yeah, that's it.
That's awesome.
Little red pellets.
And the great thing too is there's less nastiness. There's less smell when it comes to a more natural diet. It's amazing.
Nibs, okay, not to get too graphic. I mean,
we're talking about poop. Yeah.
So when Nibs poops, because he's on all raw and everything, it's very small amounts, and it's very hard. Sometimes it gets crumbly, and it turns white and blows away. Who's seen any white dog poop lately? I haven't. It's just because of all those fillers and stuff like that, and the dry foods and everything.
Yeah.
But I think we can move on to.
I think loose poop.
Loose poop, guys. Loose poop. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to talk a little bit about loose poop. So there are so many different reasons why our dogs have loose poop. The most common that I've seen is overfeeding. And it doesn't mean that you're overfeeding too much in the whole day. You're just overfeeding at that time. So dogs have small stomachs. And like we look at the amount of food. If we have a small dog, we look at the amount of food in the bowl. A lot of times it's like, that's it. But look how much smaller they are than us. Their tummies are tiny, and especially like puppies, they're still developing. So you want to really limit the amount of food they're getting at each time, so it gives them an opportunity to start digesting it. So because their digestive tract is very short, if they eat too much, their tummies are filled, the stomach goes, I don't know what the heck to do with this. Here you go, intestines, you take it. And in the intestines is where we absorb the moisture. If you don't have enough time to absorb that moisture, then it's coming out as liquid or loose, you know? So what I normally suggest, what we suggest is
scale back.
Yeah, scale back. Or if you think you have to still feed 2 cups of food a day to your dog, do it. Or like let's say you're doing 1.5 cups a day.
Right.
Do half a cup in the morning, half a cup in the afternoon, and half a cup in the evening. The other thing too is you don't have to do it perfectly spread out. Just give it a little bit of time to digest. And that seriously is like the easiest way to start. People just think their dogs have sensitive stomachs. Most of the time they're just eating too much at a time.
Yeah.
Or we have people saying like, my dog's not eating all their food. A lot of times on these bags and stuff, they tell you to overfeed.
Overfeed, yeah. And you know, it's not a marketing plan or anything like that, but that was basically the way it used, because, you know, back when these dogs had a lot more room to run around, you know, they had a different type of lifestyle. Now we have them more as house pets. We have them more as a couch potatoes or some form of comfort or some type of what is the word I'm looking for? When the companion, yeah, and a support companion essentially. So you have to remember that dogs went from running and working to now working dogs are your pet. They just sit at home, not do much. So you always have to look at the lifestyle. if your dog is going to be a working dog and is going to go hiking with you if you're a hiker, or is going to, like herding sheep, for example, then you feed them the appropriate amount because they're going to be burning through that amount of food. But nowadays, honestly, if that bag says if your dog is 80 pounds, feed them 2 cups, you can render it down to 1.5 cups, maybe. Actually, I think it says 3.5 cups, if I'm not mistaken. You can render it to 2.
It's bonkers.
Yeah.
My usual rule of thumb, and this is where I just really start out, and you can tweak it however you need to. If you think your dog's losing weight, you could put more in. If you think they're gaining weight, you can take less. I usually say 1 cup of dry food per 25 pounds of dog. So if you have a 25-pound dog, they should really just need 1 cup of dry food. A whole day. So that's where I start. And then we just, we wait 2 weeks, see how that feeding does. Mm-hmm. If you think you're losing weight too quick, add a little bit more. If you think you're gaining weight, then take out a little bit. So, and then usually that helps really well.
And there's another thing also with dogs that don't want to eat as much. With the overfeeding, there could be diarrhea. That's one consequence, especially if a dog does not know that he's full or she's full. Or even a cat. They'll just keep eating, right? There's no switch, so there could be diarrhea. There are other dogs that have an adverse effect where they stop eating the food. Mm-hmm. All right, and then people think, oh my God, my dog hates the food. I need to now switch it to something else, et cetera, et cetera. No, scale back. Maybe your dog's just full. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They can't tell you that they're full. They can't tell you I'm stuffed. I can't eat anymore, but you keep giving me food. Mm-hmm. So they'll start turning their nose up at the food and just walking away from it. Mm-hmm. Scale back. Start feeding them less, like quarter less, and see exactly where it goes. And you might get that appetite going again, and keep it at that momentum. Don't go back to what you were feeding them because you're going to get overfed again. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a common thing too. People are trying to offer too much, and when the dog's not eating it, they're offering like people food or like higher reward food. Where like I'm the same way. Listen, if I'm stuffed and you're gonna put something really nice in my face, I'm gonna eat it. I'm not. Yeah. Oh. Ooh. I don't care how full I am. If it tastes good, I'm gonna eat it. I don't care how I'm gonna feel afterwards. So it goes with dogs too. Yeah. So another thing is they might be a little sensitive.
Yeah. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And then if they do become very sensitive again. I literally love resorting to pumpkin puree. Mm-hmm. Try that first. It's the easiest thing because you get to stay on your regular regimen. You don't have to switch the dog food brand over. You have to switch a flavor over. Just pop a teaspoon of this on their food and see how it goes. It may take 2 feedings or a 2 feeding cycle. And then you might see that, hey, you know what? The loose poop is no longer that loose.
So I know we recommended pumpkins for constipation. Well, pumpkin is awesome because it is good for constipation because it adds that fiber to help move things through. Alternatively,
that's my word.
It has a binding quality, so it helps the poop stay together and be solid as you move it through.
Yep.
So if you don't have any sort of pumpkin puree in your house, even if you don't think you're going to go through it a lot, we have this
Firm Up.
It's called Firm Up, but I mean it's good to add fiber too. This stuff is freeze dried. It's 1 part this to 1 part water, and it's amazing. Yeah. So if you think that you need more time on the shelf, because once you open this guy, it's good for about 4 days. Yeah. This one will sit on the shelf for a while, and you can use it as needed. You can also add supplements to them. So this is from Dr. Harvey's. Dr. Harvey's is a fantastic brand, and we're going to go through another product of theirs. But they're cool because you can actually call them, and they'll help you put together a diet for your dog. They've done a lot with like kidney issues and stuff like that. But that supplement right there has all these different components in it that helps just kind of solidify that poop. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Pumpkin loves pumpkin. I hope Pumpkin loves pumpkin.
They have so many different lines of this. This is just the poop remedy. There's a urinary tract remedy, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. There's a what's the other one? They
have the CoQ10 for the heart.
CoQ10. There you go.
They have a great supplement line.
A renal supplement too. Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
Yeah.
These guys are phenomenal when it comes to their stuff. You can also look for additives. A pour over. These things are great because this one comes with pumpkin inside, and you got the chicken pumpkin, salmon pumpkin, and you also have the turkey pumpkin. And what other stuff can we add to their food?
Oh man, so many things. Do we have any more? So if you wanted to like switch the food for a bit to just kind of like get it to be not diarrhea or loose anymore.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a sensitive dog or cat, you can end up just kind of switching the diet for a little bit to get them to solidify again. So a lot of people have used like Hill Science Diet and things like that. I have my views on it, but we won't go through it here. Not a big fan. We have this stuff called Dave's. So Dave's with the they have these 2 bland diets. There's lamb and rice and chicken and rice. So these guys right here are bland. They are complete, so you can put your dog on this. And we've seen a lot of great turnouts with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Some people keep it as their everyday, or add it into whatever else they're doing. A lot of people will start with like the bland chicken and rice, and then their next step up is the regular chicken and rice. And then if you want to get rid of the grains, they have a 95% chicken. So yeah. We've gradually gotten people to different levels, just slowly. Yeah. Some dogs just need that.
Yeah, and some dogs take longer than usual. You know, again, we say dogs, but we're trying to encompass both dogs and cats. There's so many different things we have.
Cat stuff.
Yeah. Forza makes a great product for cats.
Yeah.
They, again, focus on like a few things. They focus on kidney, which is renal technically, and they also focus on digestive.
Yeah. So this is, if you have a cat that is dealing with some issues, some intestinal issues, they add in dried rose hips, psyllium husk. Psyllium husk is a really good additive too. That is tons of fiber. So that's really great. And then a little bit of oregano. It actually helps, you know, soothe the belly and start healing it. So we have that in cat, and we have that in dog. So that's awesome. Another canned food, wet food that we have for this issue is From makes these really cute digestive supports. Marielle and I know Piper's on this stuff. So they have a fish and they have a chicken. Now these guys are not a complete and balanced meal. This is just something that you can use maybe a couple days to get them back on track, but you eventually want to get off of this food or use it as a topper or as an additive, but you do not want to keep them on it just solely this. It's not complete and balanced. But it has some really great ingredients in it, like, where is this? So it's like chicken broth, chicken liver, white rice, pumpkin. Yep. So it has all these great, there's a grass in here that I can't pronounce, but it's great. So these things are awesome.
And again, you guys don't have to completely switch over.
Right.
You know, what we always love to do is, again, ask the bajillion questions that we normally do to kind of get a better understanding as to why it's happening, when it started happening. But we're not here to switch your dog's diet completely over, because I know it's a great undertaking, you know, on your side. So what we do recommend with these products is to be able to add it in to your food and gradually be able to, you know, kind of solidify their poop, if you will. And then once we get it solidified, start cutting back on what we just added to see if it was the food that was causing the problem, or if it was just temporary. Yeah. You know,
everyone gets a little sometimes.
There are also a lot of our clients, including people who are not our clients, always say, I'm just going to cook my dog, you know, rice and chicken. Anna, what's your take on that?
Okay, so if your dog has some, hold on, new product. Okay, so if your dog has like diarrhea and you need to really, really like solidify
we're jumping to diarrhea.
We're jumping to diarrhea.
Really?
We're there. We're there. Well, we'll circle back around if we need to. But a lot of people want to do
the
diarrhea. So a lot of times your dog has diarrhea and you go, oh my gosh, I need to make boiled chicken and rice.
But first, oh my God, I got to call a house cleaner because there's a mess everywhere.
So boiled chicken and rice, and you can even add a little bit of pumpkin in it. That's fine, but only for a few days. What we see a lot is like people start doing that and they go, oh, well, my dog's poops are really nice now, so we'll just keep it like that. You can't do it. It's not a complete meal. You're boiling out a lot of those nutrients and enzymes. Basically, the chicken and the rice are just to bind up and start fresh. And then you just gradually go back to what they were on, or gradually go back to a complete and balanced meal. You do not want to stick with that. So as we talked about with Dr. Harvey's, to make a complete and balanced meal on your own is so hard. So hard to make sure you have everything. So some people want to start cooking for their dog to help with their issues. they make this phenomenal. It's called Canine Health. So this guy right here, I don't know if you can see in there. That's okay. So you've got like oatmeal and barley and vegetables, and then they add in all those great vitamins and minerals that are going to complete it. Now this is just a base mix. So what are you responsible for?
Adding the protein
and
the fiber
and the fat. No, this is the fiber.
Oh, that's fiber. Sorry.
This is the fiber. It's the fat. So
it's a coconut oil. You can do that as a compensation for it. You can even do
olive oil, grass-fed butter.
Yep. You can even do duck fat. You know, you could probably get a jar of duck fat too. You can add that right in there. If your dog's allergic to any type of duck, game bird, whether it's duck, chicken, turkey, whatever, you can do pork fat as well, and that's actually healthy enough. Render it down, and they'll be fine with it.
So basically, this is just a really great thing, again, because there's like the oatmeal and stuff like that. This is actually a really good kidney recipe also, and you could actually call them and they will put together a meal plan for you.
Yep. And there's a huge line of this stuff. It's just not the Canine Health. It's,
we're talking about poop today, so we're talking about the Canine Health.
Yep.
They have vegetables called Vegetable. And then they have some lower carb options too for dogs that may have cancer or can't handle too many carbs.
Right.
Like diabetes and things like that. So, but this stuff is great if you want to do your own food. This will give you everything you need. You just have to add the protein and the fat. Again.
And then there's some other things that you might want to put into your repertoire of stuff that you may have in the cabinet or something. Basically, like in the event, because again, diarrhea, there's like, your dog's not going to tell you, hey, tomorrow I may have diarrhea.
Guys.
Yeah.
Crap happens.
It's not going to be a notification that pops up and says, for tomorrow's poop, there's going to be a little bit of diarrhea, a little bit of upset tummy, whatever. But there's a great product. It's called Under the Weather.
So this stuff is awesome. So they just came out with, this one right now. So we started out having these guys. So this one is a rice chicken and pumpkin, and this one is a rice hamburger and sweet potato. So what's cool about this, I don't know if you can hear it. So it's freeze dried, guys. So when your dog has that really bad diarrhea and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? I don't have rice. I don't have chicken. I don't want to go to the supermarket. So this is everything all freeze dried. You put some boiling water in here. You let it hydrate and you let it cool. And you give it to them. Now, the cool part about this is when they have diarrhea, they lose a lot of electrolytes. This one has added electrolytes in it. So, super awesome. And they just came out with 2 new formulas.
This one, they add beef broth and chicken broth, bone broth technically in each one of these. So you have chicken and you have beef for those dogs who are, again, allergic to game birds.
Yeah. So, I always keep a bag of this in my house because, again, crap happens. So Nibs loves it. Like, if I take it out and I start like boiling water, he's like, oh, is that the good stuff? And I'm like, yeah, butthead, because of your butt. But yeah, this is definitely just a really good thing to have in the cabinet just in case. It's freeze dried, so it stays fresh. Just seal it up. It has a little Ziploc here, and you can just always have it on hand if you need it. And you can do the whole transition from this back to the regular food, or just always keep a little dose of this into the food as well if you really want to do that. But yeah, definitely something to, we just got a whole mess of it at the store. Definitely something to add to the cabinet. Another thing, what else are we talking about?
So basically another big complexity when it comes to your dog's diet. And again, I know we're all suckers for those little puppy dog eyes where it's like, what do I give him for a treat? Like that becomes a really big thing because a lot of people forget that when your dog has an upset stomach, it's not only the food that you have to be careful of and be conscious of. You also have to be conscious of the treats. The treats are a big, big part of it. There could be something in the treat that could be triggering the diarrhea or the loose poop. I'm going to keep referring to it as the diarrhea for this session. And then alternatively, which I love to say, it's the amount of the treat that you're giving them. So there's 2 factors in this. You have to be careful of what you're giving them, and you have to be careful of how much you're giving them. So when it comes to treats, you could do or incorporate things that are binding, such as this, because it's predominantly rice with banana powder and whatever the protein is. Again, there's a variety of proteins. We go from peanut butter all the way to beef or venison or salmon.
Now, this is not a rawhide.
Right. Yeah. They say no hide for a reason. It looks like a rawhide, but it's not. Rawhide is skin. It doesn't process properly in the stomach, which can actually cause blockages,
which would cause diarrhea and like a $5,000 surgery.
Oh, that's it?
Oh, just that. That's it.
Well, good thing these are only $8. Anyway, so your choice. So the other thing too is what it has inside. So again, you can get treats. We have tons of treats in the store that come with pumpkin in them. I love Grandma Lucy's. I mean, I don't know about you, but I pretty much have gone through a whole pumpkin patch myself.
Yeah, so there's this one treat that we have, and when we were setting up the store,
everything was closed.
Everything was closed.
You all know, in Croton, nothing's open past 10 o'clock.
We were putting food on the shelves, and we were starving. We were getting a little hangry. And I go, come on, have you ever tried these treats before? And he's like,
they're dog treats. I have never had dog treats.
Yeah, I'm like, you're in for a treat. So one of the companies, Grandma Lucy's, had given us a bag of treats to, Jessica Anson really loves to talk about poop. We talked a lot about poop on here. They gave us these treats, and they're called, they're these organic treats that have pumpkin in it.
Everything's like literally, she said organic. It's organic pumpkin, organic.
Everything.
Yeah, maple syrup is in there as well.
And so I was like, here, it looks like a Teddy Graham. And he ate it, and we ate the whole bag, but whatever.
2 bags.
Okay.
So there was a sweet potato and banana one, which I loved.
That one's probably my favorite.
And then we actually went through a bag of apple. Yep. And
come
to think of it, I think it was 3 bags that night. We were starving. Yeah, we were there until like 2 a.m. We need something to eat.
Yeah.
Thank God for Grandma Lucy's.
We actually had a customer come in today. Remember Strudel?
Yes, I remember Strudel.
Strudel is this little
tiny little puppy.
She's
super
tiny.
cute.
She is a mini dachshund, and mini dachshunds are predisposed to like colitis and stuff like that. So she's a very sensitive tummy. And this treat right here is
her favorite.
Yeah, this is the go-to. It's pretty bland, but it still has flavor to it. It comes in these itty bitties, which are super tiny, and they have them in regular, larger dog sizes also. And they have a couple different flavors, but the pumpkin seems to do really well with the dogs with the belly issues.
Yeah, upset tummies.
Thanks, Jessica. I like the hair too.
So again, keep an eye on the stuff that's inside the treats. And for a dog who has, let's say, an issue at the moment with diarrhea or with loose poop, and you still want to give them a treat,
or even puppies that you're just not sure how
their tummies are going to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So instead of giving them the entire thing in one sitting, you knock it down to 10 minutes. So how much ever your dog. Now, if your dog is a massive chewer, like we're talking about, this thing is gone in 10 minutes, render it down to portion control. Right. So only this much, fake trade it for something else, take it away. And then let their stomach kind of get acclimated to the treat. And then next day you give them the same amount, next day you give them the same amount, and then you build up to the point where you can give them an entire treat.
Right, yeah. I always recommend, people look at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, just give it to them for like 5 minutes, take it away, see what comes out on the other end. If that was cool, add another 5 minutes.
If it looks like The Exorcist, scale back.
So, people go, oh, my dog had diarrhea on that treat. Well, how much did your dog eat at one time? Were you monitoring how big of the chunks they're eating? Yeah. There's things like that.
On top of supplements, which we basically said Dr. Harvey's Run Be Gone, there's another great supplement that you can pretty much add to their daily diet.
So one of the other questions that I tend to ask is, has your dog been on any kind of antibiotics lately? So we always ask that because, when you give a dog or a cat an antibiotic, it's literally killing all the gut bacteria.
Yep.
And it doesn't say, oh, you're good gut bacteria, we'll let you stay. Yeah. It just kills everything. So when stuff like that happens, you need to build that gut. Your gut is 84% of your immune system. If you have a healthy gut, the rest should follow suit.
Yeah.
So when you're on antibiotics, there's a way to do it. You don't want to take your antibiotics with a probiotic. You want to space them out a little bit so that the antibiotic can do its job. But we do have this fantastic from Arc Naturals. It's called Gentle Digest. It's a capsule, but you could just pop it open, sprinkle it into the food. Yeah. It's good to go. Yeah, Martine, I'm about to get my answers out of the fridge. So
so basically you could pop this open. You can add it directly into their food. You can hide it into something, especially if they're very finicky. Yeah, there's a gauntlet that Anna needs to go through in order just to get to the fridge. Be careful of the wire. And this actually works really well. And again, with antibiotics, it's the same exact thing with human beings. You have to be careful that you never take too much antibiotic. Never take it for too long, because as Anna mentioned,
but do whatever the vet tells you to do.
There's no bias against good versus bad bacteria, and we need the good bacteria for our immune systems. Now, another good way of making sure that your gut is healthy is by adding a phenomenal probiotic.
So, okay, I'm gonna go a little bit into this brand a little bit. So, does anyone out there drink kombucha or eat anything that is fermented? Anyone? So fermented is awesome because fermented foods are energy straight to the gut. It feeds it. Yeah, it's already broken down, so your gut doesn't have to digest it. It's already pre-digested. So in order to build that gut health for the dogs, now I ferment my own sauerkraut. I'm actually growing cabbage right now, so I could do that, and beans, so I can ferment them because I'm a nerd like that. It's really easy. It's so easy. Look up the recipes. It's so cool. So the fermentation really helps build that stuff. My favorite thing, I don't care how your dog or cat's belly is, the best thing that you can add to your dog or cat's diet.
Fermented goat's milk.
Yeah. So Answers specifically, there's a lot of different kinds of goat's milks and everything like that, and they're all pretty good. But the cool thing about any Answers product is everything is raw, bioavailable, and then they add cod liver. They add fermented cod liver. The cod liver is not in this. This doesn't have this. Yeah, but some of their recipes have like fermented cod liver that's been fermented for over a year.
Yeah. Yeah, talk about like straight into your system.
So good for their joints, though. We do have that fermented fish stock. But anyway, I digress.
Back to the gut.
Back to the gut. So, so this raw fermented goat's milk is awesome. So it's not like the regular goat's milk that you would get in the supermarket, because that stuff is pasteurized.
Right.
Once you pasteurize it, that bioavailability is gone. So Answers does not pasteurize their goat's milk. It is raw and bioavailable. And then what they do as a safety step plus to build live culture is they ferment it. Mm-hmm. It's so good.
The fermentation process is actually very important for their line of products.
Yeah, everything they have is fermented, and it's amazing. So it's basically like doggy kombucha.
Yep, and there's also the Calcathir that's there too, which is also a great source of probiotic as well as
they've got some cheeses. They've got so many cool little things that you can like treats and added. This is called an addition.
The great thing with the treats too is it's infused with either blueberry, cranberry. They have another one that was with garlic. Again, all those things are healthy for either urinary tract or even digestive.
Have you checked out? So we also sell fermented pig's feet.
I did not know that.
Oh, you didn't know that? So we sell raw fermented pig's feet.
Yeah, I missed that.
And raw fermented chicken feet.
I saw the chicken feet.
Yeah.
I did not know this that we have pig feet.
They're pretty intense. But they're fermented and they're delightful for the puppers.
Did you eat those?
I did not eat those. I've eaten the goat cheese. I've eaten the fermented cheese that they have. It's not bad. Okay. If I can try it, I'm gonna eat it. Okay, whatever, guys.
Jess is like, ew.
If I can try it, I'm going to. So this stuff, Nibs is obsessed with it. He literally will not get out of bed until he hears me pour in his bowl in the morning, which is cool with me because I love the fact that I can add it to anything that he has. Also, if you're trying to fast your dog to get their bellies back on track, this is a complete and balanced meal. All in itself. You don't
have to add anything else to it.
So this is really great if you need to fast or just like cut back on some of that bulk that you're giving them.
And this one you do want to follow the actual measuring guide for it because it is accurate. Yeah. You never want to overfeed your dog or cat with that. And by the way, this is good for both dogs and cats.
Yeah, and what they do in this one is they actually add, what else? They add, so it's raw fermented goat's milk, and then they add a little bit of honey, which helps with honey is like antibacterial and stuff like that, and cinnamon. So that's good for the blood. So this stuff is awesome. Yeah. My mom's like, Brady's favorite is the fermented chicken feet. When you see a little dog going at a fermented chicken foot, it's pretty gross, but he has a good time.
Yeah, we have a lot of raw everything.
Yeah.
you name it, we got it. Oh, and also we got a new product in, and again, this is kind of a more lighthearted play on words. So a lot of our clientele have, very fancy stuff, and Louis Vuittons are predominant out there. So just to add on to that repertoire of fancy, we are now carrying a line of Louis Vuittons, if anyone's interested. They come with the actual logo embedded all over it. So,
and they're made of cornstarch.
There we go. Biodegradable, bio-friendly.
Yep.
And imagine pulling out a poop bag that looks like your purse. I found it hilarious. Anna said, we got some Louis Vuittons, and I was like, are you serious? I thought they were toys.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden that came up. I was like, we need to put this onto our scoop on poop.
Today. I went to backstage, and Janice did it, and she's phenomenal. Actually, I just found out today that Janice's hairdresser used to be my dad. My dad used to do my hairdresser's hair when he was doing hair years ago. Yeah, whatever. Wait, what did I say?
Used to be your dad.
No, my dad does my current hairdresser's hair. Whatever. But
it's one of those things
whatever.
Where it's like my sister's
I'm gonna have more unicorn farts.
And again, if you missed in the beginning, we are drinking unicorn farts.
Yep.
And it's only because we're talking about poop today. So we got this from the Green Growler. The design on the beer can is amazing. I mean, it's a unicorn and it's farting, and it says "pour me." Well, it's actually sour me, but it is a sour beer. So if you guys don't mind the sourness, it's good. It's really good.
To it too, because it's made with fruit cereal.
And there is glitter.
Edible glitter, guys.
Edible glitter inside of here.
Just like a real unicorn fart.
Yeah. Actually, you can see the glitter better from the top view when the light hits it than inside the.
It's pretty.
It is.
It looks good.
It looks so nice when Anna was pouring it. When the sunlight was hitting it, actually looked magical. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And then she actually had a perfect pour, and it was like, I don't know. It was great. It was great.
Nice. Yeah. But yeah, no, great beer. I'm not always into like the craft beers and the fancy schmancy stuff, but this one's good, guys. This one's really good. I hope he gets more of it, because I'll definitely drink it, and hopefully we didn't.
I think we did.
Do we buy all?
There's one can left. All right. And they close in 12 minutes.
Go get it.
So if I see any one of you leave this Facebook Live session, I'm going to only assume that you're going there to get a unicorn fart.
Uniform fart?
Uniform fart, yeah. That's like, yeah.
Apparently the alcohol content is really good in this thing.
It is. It's 5.5% alcohol. Actually, from here, it looks like 55% alcohol. No, it's 5.5.
Okay, so.
Do you guys have any questions for us?
Yeah, any
shoot us a chat.
For the pooroos.
Are your pets feeling okay? How's their poop? Yeah. Let's start that session. Let's interact here.
Yeah. Do you ever find yourself going, what does your dog's poop look like? What do you want it to look like? Mm-hmm. This is how we'll get it there. So we'll definitely help you tweak your diets. We'll help you put something together, maybe add a supplement or like a pumpkin. Like, we'll hold your hand through it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's also another thing. Some people come in and they go, my dog poops too much. There's so much poop. And that could be an overabundance of fillers. A lot of dogs on dry food, no matter how high quality the dry food is, there has to be starch to keep it together. There has to be fillers in it. So sometimes that just makes some really bulky poops. As I said, Nib's poop is pretty tiny. It's dry. He absorbs everything he needs. Yep, Jessica. Yep. Firm Up is wonderful.
It is.
But yeah, so there's definitely we'll help you out. There's lots we can do, and we will hold your hand, because this stuff, we see it all day. We see like our business card holder at work.
We don't see it all day. We hear about it.
We hear about it all day.
Thank God that you guys walk your dogs before you bring them into our store, because we've had 0 poop accident. Well,
No,
we've had a few poop accidents. But I have to say, for those of your pups who have pooped in our store, don't think we get upset. We actually take the opportunity to see how your dog's poop is, and if it was any shape, way, or form like loose or diarrhea, she would kind of help you right in and there.
Yeah.
But for the dogs that did poop in our store, good job, guys. Their poop was perfect. It came right up. Like.
Yeah. So, oh my goodness, I totally lost my train of thought. So yeah. Anyway,
we'll help them through it.
We'll help you through it. We're there for you. We see it all the time. I was gonna say our business card holder on our counter is a lump of poop. And it's really funny because there's a lot of people who see it and they go, "Oh my God, that's gross." And I'm like, we've literally just been talking about your dog's explosive diarrhea for the past 30 minutes in very, very depth and detail.
And also, don't ever feel shy about talking about poop. 99% of pet owners talk about poop, and it's weird to everyone else who doesn't have a pet. For us, it's a normal conversation. Mm-hmm. And it's even cool because, like, as your kids are growing up, they understand that the poop consistency is important because they hear your reaction to it. If your dog has diarrhea, it's like, oh my God. If your dog's poop is loose, it's, oh my God. If the dog's poop is fine, there's not one word muttered. Yeah. So they kind of like, okay, that's cool. That's the way the poop is supposed to be. So they start learning based off of your reaction and behavior.
Yep. Christine, I don't envy you working at a vet clinic and looking at poop all day. Martine, so the why is smaller poop supposed to be better? I mean,
can I take this one?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, go.
Okay. So there's, again, it's the amount of content the pet has actually absorbed in their system compared to what they've eaten. So you always see a lot of poop if you're feeding your dog too much. It might lead to diarrhea, it might lead to loose poop. Fine. But if you're feeding your dog the appropriate amount and their bodies are absorbing the right amount, it should be like almost a 2-to-1 ratio where they're eating twice, pooping out half of it. Or you might get lucky, like Nibs, for example, will eat a pound of food and he'll poop rabbit nuggets. And Anna's like, whatever. She uses like a portion, the corner of the poop bag.
Really hardly use a poop bag. Like, I've seen dogs that are like a third of the size of Nibs that poop these ginormous things, and like you know,
1 for 1. Like they eat a pound of food, they poop out a pound.
Or some people, Martine, it's not even about like the quantity that they poop at once. It might just be that they poop like every time they go out they poop. Like, you want them to absorb their food too.
Absolutely.
That's a huge thing. So you want to make sure that they're getting everything they need out of it.
And as long as they're pooping, it doesn't matter how much they're pooping. If they're pooping a little bit, don't get nervous, don't freak out. As long as they're pooping, that means their digestive tract is intact, that there's no blockages, there's no nothing. Everything is moving along. It's when they're not pooping at all, that's when the red flag goes up. If they're pooping too much, that should be an orange flag. Like, something is wrong. My dog is not absorbing, my cat's not absorbing all the food or all the nutrition from the food. You'll notice, and this is one of the greatest things that we've always heard back from our clients. First-time clients will come in and ask us what food we recommend, because they don't see the regular stuff that they would normally get from like ShopRite or PetSmart or Petco. So we recommend a brand. We work through all their hoops and all their hurdles, allergies, dietary issues, et cetera, et cetera. We get into a food that their dog absolutely loves. The first thing they come back and say, my dog isn't pooping as much. Why is that? And then Anna will most likely respond,
there's not as much filler. There's foods like Pedigree. And here's the crappy part about the pet food industry. There's many crappy parts, but there's one in particular. They don't have to tell you the amount of carbs in their food. So if we're familiar with macronutrients, that's protein, fat, and carbs. And if you guys want to do something really cool, if you go grab any of your pet food, and you go on there and you'll see the guaranteed analysis. So you'll be like, oh, protein, it's X%. Fat, X%.
Fiber, X%.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Carbohydrates.
Moisture is another one too.
Carbohydrates, crickets. They don't put carbs on the bag. So you have to do math. And who's going to sit there in the dog food aisle and do math. I'll do it for you. I have a calculator. A lot of these brands, like bigger brands, I know, like, I think Pedigree, like dog food, is like over 60% carbohydrates.
Carbs.
So when you look at the amount that the bag tells you to feed of a lower quality food, it's going to tell you to feed a ridiculous amount because it has to eat that much just to get enough nutrients to sustain them. And that's why there's so much big bulky poops, because it's just taking a little bit out of it and it's just pushing the rest through. So a lot of people are like, oh, this big giant bag of food is only like whatever amount of money. And then you go to like the more boutique brands or the more nutritionally dense brands, and it's more money.
Yeah.
And so people get a little bit turned off by the fact that, well, I'm getting less food and I'm paying more money, but most of the time you have to feed a fraction of what you're already feeding, and you're going to come out on top anyway because you're going to go through less poop bags, and your dog's going to be healthy in the long run. So that's just some things to look at.
And also nutrient rich. And by the way, Sheila and Jess, we'll get right to you in a second. We see those questions. We're definitely going to tap into that. Hi, Nancy. Oh, Lucy's mom. Hi. She says, no. I was like, whatever. Hi, Nancy. I just saw her, too. She just stopped by. Lucy came in today, too. As adorable as ever. She's our mascot, if anything. She laid in the box, like literally in the box, making sure the next customer knows to respect her space. So tapping back into the nutrient-rich products, like the special boutique ones, that can also lead to loose poop or diarrhea, which is, again, if you're going from a base brand or I'll call it a crap brand, pun intended, you're going to go from your dog being potentially stable and tired of the food to something more nutrient rich, and then all of a sudden there's a little turbulence with the poop. That is normal. It's normal. It's a transition. You either transition too quickly to the nutrient rich food, or you just might have jumped the gun and gone 50-50. You always have to do a very slow transition. It should take you a week straight, 7 days to do.
Sometimes even 2 weeks.
Even 2 weeks, yeah, depending on the dog, right? Absolutely.
Yeah, everyone's different. Occasional blood.
So Nancy asked.
Occasional bloody diarrhea.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Nancy. So sometimes it happens. If that does happen, I would definitely just keep tabs on your dog. If it keeps up, you want to go to the vet. You don't know. Could be like an obstruction. Also, it could just be something that is just a little wonky in there, but it would be more of a vet advice and not so much from us. That would be something you want to talk to the vet about.
Yeah, we can help you through the waves, but when it's like a little bit of a
once people get like we can't diagnose, but we can help tweak once we know the diagnosis, we can kind of help put together a diet for you.
Yep.
And let's see. Jessica, strange question. Phoebe seems to strain a little bit more lately. Age. Give her a little bit of fiber. I know, so Phoebe, poor Miss Phoebe. When we open, Jessica would come in and just be like, what do we do? And I mean, how many different foods? Oh yeah, Nancy, stress could totally do it.
Absolutely.
Stress can absolutely do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jessica used to come in, and poor Phoebe would be so poopied everywhere, all over the place. And we went through so many foods. I don't even know how many, and we finally found one that worked. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes you have to try different things. She never goes with firm up. Okay, so we won't do firm up if she never goes.
That's a clog. Firm up is designed to stop diarrhea, to stop loose poop, like right then and there in its tracks.
Maybe try some shredded zucchini or some cabbage. So that will add fiber without header on that ID. Oh gosh, yeah, I remember. Yeah, that ID stuff is not my favorite.
I think you just said it right. It's ID crap.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, Jessica said it was ID crap, and she's very,
Power to you.
Yeah. So add some like low carb fiber in there, but do it slowly because we know Phoebe. We don't want to rock the boat too much. you want to go slow, you know, and see. She might just be absorbing more food than normal. This is great. Oh God, okay, cabbage. Yeah, so you could do some cabbage. And here's the deal too, is like you can cook the food, but if you're just looking for fiber content, you can just do it raw. They're not going to absorb the nutrients so much, but it will let it go together. Maybe let's try zucchini, like just a little steamed zucchini before we go into cabbage.
Zucchini is like a cousin to pumpkin. So basically, you got to remember squashes. Yeah. So you have to remember that that's pretty much going to give you the same exact fiber content as pumpkin would, but at the same time, it's going to be less of the orange and more of the green or the yellow, depending on which one you choose. Anna touched base earlier about the carb content. So she said she has a calculator, but there's a pretty nifty calculation that you guys can take down right now if you want. So basically, it is fat plus protein plus moisture plus fiber. And you always add 6% ash, especially in, you know, dog food, cat food.
That's the average, ash content. A lot of, you could usually go on the websites or call the company and they'll tell you the exact ash content, but 6% is the average, so they usually throw that in there.
And then you subtract 100, and that equals the amount of carbs the dog food has.
Right.
And that will give you the answer. And honestly, like, that's how Anna was able to determine that in pedigree or whatever. It was like 60% carbs because it's just filler on top of filler on top of filler. So that's why those brands are cheaper. To literally, you can have a farm of potatoes. Potatoes don't cost anything. So imagine these major corporations buying it directly from the farmers or whatever, if they even do that, and then processing the food with nothing but potatoes, rice, which is again another cheap ingredient. What else? Oh, water. My favorite is water sufficient for food processing. I think.
You need the water.
No, but the water's sufficient for food processing. It's like, what kind of water? Dirty brown water?
True.
You know, swamp water.
But yeah, there's definitely things that you want to avoid when it comes to the filler. Again, every dry food has some sort of filler, whether it's grains, grain-free, and then there's different steps of good grains and good grain-free. So we usually tell people stay away from corn, wheat, and soy. So these three grains are like so overproduced, and they're so like they're not. You can't. They can't. Yeah, they're super processed. They're overdone, and
corn has sugar. And again, you want to stay. I mean, everything in our food, even for us, has high fructose corn syrup. They say that that's the most addictive thing besides drugs on the market. Everything has high fructose corn syrup.
So you guys are familiar with who's ever seen Kibbles and Bits? All right. So who knows what the bits are made out of?
I don't. I never thought about looking into that.
Yeah, so Kibbles and Bits, it'll have the kibble, which is the dry food portion, and then they have the little bits that go on top that are like semi-moist that go on top.
I hate that word.
It's moist. Yeah, semi.
Semi.
Yeah, so they have these little bits that go on top, and the bits are made of high fructose corn syrup.
Wow.
You're literally scooping sugar onto your dog's diet.
And that's why they love it so much.
Oh, and like red dye number 5 and like all this other
stuff that's just
other
nasty.
Stuff. Yeah, it's like why? But you know what it is like we look at things like that, and I've seen people come in, they ask for like a semi-moist dry food and things like that. If you find a semi-moist dry food, it's probably not going to be good because they have to add either that high fructose corn syrup in there, or they'll add propylene glycol, which is an antifreeze. So a lot of
repeat that one more time.
Either high fructose corn syrup or propylene glycol, which is an antifreeze. Now that is what keeps it humid and keeps it soft. You're gonna see that in a lot of treats too. You'll normally see it in like bacon strips and
anything that's pliable, bendable, kind of soft to bend.
Like in the grocery store, read the ingredients, guys. Yep. Like there's some gross stuff in there. Other ingredients to stay away from are BHA and BHT.
Yep.
BHA and BHT are a preservative that is proven to be cancer causing. You're gonna find that in your salami, guys.
Yep. And also another good one to kind of keep note of is carrageenan. It's a binding unit that you could find in soft food, et cetera, et cetera. Stay away from that as well, because there's also research being done to see if it's linked to cancer. That includes rotisserie chicken, guys. the rotisserie chicken that you can go to ShopRite and buy, which I know is the easiest solution for dinner. Check the ingredient markers. It's got carrageenan in it. They pump it into the chicken.
Yeah, I usually
as they cook.
If you get like the organic one with nothing in it, it literally doesn't have anything in it. But the regular ones always have stuff pumped in it, and it's just like, but why, guys? But why? But why? Because it tastes good.
Yep. And they go for, again, when it comes to food, anything that makes the food addicting, anything that makes the food taste better. That's their solution because they want you to come back.
The guacamole is really good that way.
The guac is really good. But what they are really starting to take a step away from is health. And there's a lot of stuff that's like less healthy. And that's why the products that are healthier are more expensive, is because the ingredients that they are using are natural ingredients, and it comes at a cost. They're not doing it on purpose because they want to drive the marker up. They want you to buy it, but at the same time, they need to stay in business. So.
Yeah. The guac, yes, Karen, the guac is delicious. But yeah,
we're way tapped over the hour.
Yeah,
we really appreciate you guys staying on, because I didn't think that we can actually talk about poop for the entire hour. When Anna wrote it down, I was like,
I don't know where my original notes were. So
I
like to read notes. I like to write down notes of what we're going to talk about. Just we kind of like, and I usually make it really pretty, guys. Like I make it really nice to follow. But then like today I'm like, oh no. I said, oh crap. I got to talk about poop. So I just started writing and it just kept going. And I'm like, oh, this is too much stuff. So
then led to the second draft, which is the pink paper, which was 1 page long, and then I was like,
we're like, we've got this. We talk about poop all the time.
Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? We don't need to go through a script today.
Yeah.
Let's just wing it. Not the poop, but just the session, and see exactly how it goes. Yeah, monkeys wing poop. We don't wing poop. All right, we got some questions coming in, so we'll stay on. Let's see. I have almost 13-year-old who runs around like puppy some days. Yay, good food, worth every penny. Thank you. That is, it is. Believe it or not, that's another bonus to feeding your dog something that's more nutrient rich. You will see a huge difference in their behavior. They're more energetic, more lively. They're more of a pet than before.
Yeah.
My puggle, who recently passed away, we used to call him Eeyore. His name was Bosco, but we call him Eeyore because he always had that, like, you know, the droopy face. He's like, you know what, guys, I'm just not in the mood to go running today. Then we switched him over. We switched him over from Kibble over to Anna's trying to hold it in. That was Droopy the dog. Anyway, so
I do that. My mom has a Basset Hound, and I was like, I'm happy.
You know what? I'm happy. So switch him over to raw food, and oh my God. He was like a brand new dog. And this is like when he was 5 years old. I thought that was his personality from the beginning. It was just because he wasn't getting the nutrition that he needed. Once I switched the gears, he was lively. He was chasing other dogs around. His tail was curled up, wagging. I mean, literally looked attentive and astute. So all that came from the benefit of switching his diet over to a more nutritious diet. It's amazing. Amazing.
Let's see. Just yes, Mr. C. Okay, so if you're overfeeding will the poop be soft and diarrhea? Yes, that was in the beginning of this. We were talking about one of the biggest reasons for diarrhea or loose stool, and overfeeding was definitely one of them. I know Mr. C is so tiny, so you could feed him the same amount of food, but you can split it into smaller feedings throughout the day so that he can absorb more before giving him more food, because they don't have a lot of room in the intestines to house so much food to process.
Also,
it's okay. You could go back once we're done with this. You can go back and watch it. I know, I know. It's always a weird poop issue. And that's why we're talking about poop today.
And the other thing too, you guys, I know we have a bunch of clients who also have difficulty with their dogs eating poop. We do have an amazing product in the store. It's SEP. You can even do something more natural, like Anna mentioned, pineapple. And that will help deter your pet from actually eating poop.
It makes poop less desirable.
Yeah, I
because,
think
I
don't know what it does to the poop.
So good.
And it smells great too.
Yeah, so yeah, there's definitely like some natural things you can try at first. And if your dog is eating, okay, here's the deal though. If your dog is eating poop and you want it to stop eating poop,
first off,
you can,
whose poop is he or she eating?
Right. So you need to tweet, like, okay, so if you have 2 dogs and your one dog is eating the other dog's poop, the other dog should be on the SEP, which stands for stop eating poop, or the pineapple. So whoever's poop is being eaten, including if the dog eats its own poop, you got to put them all on the same stuff. You could put them on the SEP. You could try the pineapple at first. Nothing ever makes cat poop less desirable.
Well, I mean, it's like a snow cat.
Yeah, no,
it's kind of a little more desirable, actually, if you think about it.
Those are crunchy candies.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
If your dog is eating
nothing, there's nothing. You're just screwed at that point. There's nothing that will make cat. I don't know what it is that is so
nasty about cat poop.
Not even nasty about it, but so desirable for dog. Like even Nibs. Like we have a couple stray cats outside the store, and if he sees some of their, like, Nibs is really good about not eating what he should be eating. But sometimes I see his eyes light up, and I'm like, no. And I usually get him before he tries, but. There's just something about cat poop that's just so delectable.
Dogs love it. If your dog is eating his or her own poop, you can add the SCP supplement into their own diet.
Yeah,
so that when they
put it in a cat's diet, though.
Right, exactly. It is only for dogs. Yep, absolutely. If you guys have issues with your dog eating your cat's poop, I got nothing for you. I mean, maybe some traps or something.
I like to also
litter at the top.
Yeah, like put the litter in a room that the dog can't get to, or they make these really cool like furniture pieces.
They're just big enough for the cat.
Yeah, just big enough for the cat to go through, unless you have a tiny dog, and then again, sorry.
Now, if you could train your tiny dog to go into the cat litter along with the cat, that's
We have people who do that.
I know that's awesome. Yeah. And again, like. If you guys have any other questions about poop, stop by, talk to us. Don't feel weird about it. Don't feel like you're going to be judged by other customers. Everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's going through this together. And honestly, if we don't hear from you guys, that means poop is good and your dog's bowel movements are a-okay.
Yeah, I mean, we really just try to, we work one-on-one with everyone to try and find the solution to exactly what you're going through. Sometimes we get it.
Yep.
Sometimes we could figure it out real quick, and sometimes we might have to change the food a couple times. But if you stick with us, because now we know what you're on and what we want to stay away from, and we could take all those steps with you and just be patient. We can get there. We can absolutely get there. And then there's some times where there's only so much we can do. You definitely want to see a vet, especially if you see some stuff in the poop that is like not good at all. Don't be afraid to go see the vet, because there's stuff that could happen that no amount of probiotic or whatever is going to help. So
absolutely.
But yeah, wow, guys, this is actually a really good turnout. I had a lot of fun talking about poop.
I did too.
Yeah.
As much fun as you could possibly have about talking about poop.
I totally nerd out on poop, guys. It's like my first grade self would be so proud that poop is a regular term in my everyday career.
Imagine you go back in time and tell your little self, hey, when you grow up, you're going to be talking about dog poop. You'd be like, cool.
Dog poop and bull penises are going to be such a huge part of your life when you get older. Those were bully sticks are made of, by the way, if you didn't know.
Can you say that word on Facebook Live?
Penis?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. All right.
It's a part of the anatomy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're having like random like body parts in my purse for Nibs.
And if you guys want us to discuss a particular topic, like this whole poop thing came just spur of the moment. You could say like we just had to do it. But if you guys have anything or any topics that you want us to discuss, we can actually do that. We can make a full session on that particular topic. Feel free to shoot us a line via email. So it's info@crotonpetstation.com. We'd be more happy to cover that for you.
We're going to reach out to more of our vendors and our brands and stuff like that, and see if we could do some, like, it's been really fun to do these Facebook Lives with other people, because like it's been fun talking shit. I love it. Yes.
I love it.
Yes, thank you. So we're gonna try and get a hold of more of our brands and have them do some more presentations for you, and just kind of talk about them and what they stand for and all this other stuff. But
there's one other thing too. Tonight, what we're going to do is we're going to do a giveaway. There needs to be no participation. We're just going to look at who attended, gave us a response or whatever, and we'll pick a winner. It's going to be for a $20 gift certificate to Mexico, who hosted our dinner for tonight. That's going to be from us. We want to support them. If you live remote, if we choose you and you just so happen to be outside the area, we'll give you a $20 coupon to our Nibs Nook. Which is our sister company, so you can do some online shopping through us.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. And also, do you think after tonight we're going to start with the every two?
Yes. Here's a update. I don't have a breaking news thing, so. Yeah.
He's slacking today.
I'm sorry. Actually, I'll start doing the breaking news. I know some people are fans of that. We just had some technical difficulties, but I got better at it. I've kind of ironed out the kinks. But what we are going to announce is that we're going to be going to a bi-weekly Yappy hour. It's not going to be every Friday. Again, just because we want to make sure we have vendors in line and we have the appropriate contents to discuss. Yeah. We love.
People are starting to go out again. Like,
yeah.
You can go out and like have a beer at a restaurant and stuff outside.
Yeah, outdoor dining. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to do that too on Friday.
We'll do that next week maybe or something. Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, we're gonna do that, and like we'll tweak everything as things open up more, and whatever. But we really love that we can sit here and talk to you guys, and have a good back and forth. And again, if you guys have any ideas of like brands that you want to talk to, or just subjects you want to talk about, we'd be more than happy to accommodate that, because there's so much to talk about. I didn't know any of this stuff before I got Nibs, and if I could go back, I would do things 100% different. 100% different.
I think we all would.
You all know how much I nerd out on this stuff. I didn't know any of this stuff. Once I started learning, I was like, oh my gosh, everyone needs to know this. So the more information that we can share with you, and it helps us too to grow and to do more research. It helps everyone as a whole, because if we can be a place to
I'm sure you guys can read that. I'm sorry, I'm sorry to let you down. Didn't realize Arizona was back on lockdown.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Arizona's locked down again. It's okay. We'll do something. But but yeah, so if we could share information, make us do more research, guys. Like that's what happens is people come with a problem and I go, oh gosh. And I know like my resources that I like to go to, and Juan has his resources, and we pull everything together and we find what might be right. But the more we get from you guys, the more we can do for you guys.
Absolutely. So it's been fun talking shit. Yeah. Sorry I had to say it. I had to say it. Hey, you can say
I couldn't say it.
I didn't know we could. I was saying we'll give it a shot. We'll see if Facebook takes this down for me saying the S word, but if not, so what? We got away with it. But anyway, I'm out of beer. Cheers to everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys, as always. And,
until 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll see you then.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.